Upgrades. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another JVS movie review. Today, I am bringing you a movie that I did not know was even coming out. But when I found it was coming out, I had to check it out immediately. And this one is called The Reading and is directed by Courtney Glaude. I think I'm saying your name right. If I'm not, I apologize. It's starring Chasity, Sereal, who is Project Runway, anything you know of fashion, you know just how big her name is. And the one, the only, the Oscar-winning actress, Monique. And here is the quick synopsis for The Reading. Emma details the loss of her family in her new book, Invasion. To generate press, she agrees to stage a reading by Sky Brown in her fortified home. But Sky's spiritual connection is real, and when evil emerges in a house they can't get out of. Listen. First thing about this film is it's amazing. It's great to get to see Monique on screen again. She's an actress that I want to say Blackbird and Betsy were the last two films I really saw her in. I absolutely love Blackbird. So I've been waiting, could not wait longer to see her in another film. And then we get The Reading, and again, Monique is Monique. I don't think there's going to ever be a role that she just doesn't knock out the park and absolutely kill. But as we're introduced to this character played by Monique Lee, and we're introduced to her just a normal family coming home dinner setup, and then we are thrust into the one of the most traumatic things you could ever see at the beginning of the film, as we see her family, from what it appears her family is being hunted and murdered in her household, as we see she even gets substantial injuries from this home invasion. And then we get forward to her telling her story live on television. At the same time, we get a Sky character who's played by Chasity, as we see that she has a connection to the spiritual realm, and she's able to connect people with lost relatives. And then we get the setup, because it's very quick here, which is also good. It's a very quick moving film when we get the knowledge of who these characters are, and then we get the combination of both at a reading at Emma's house for her family. And then that's when this film gets bonkers. It turns into the perfect horror movie. And what I mean by that, because granted, you're going to see horrors better than this. Yes, I'm not going to lie and say this is the best horror movie ever. But what I mean by the perfect horror movie is it's the setup. It's so quick hitting. It doesn't feel like it's a wasted scene in this film. And Courtney, who directs it, I think, does a masterful job here with horror. Because with horror, you still have to keep the suspense elements in it, while understanding that your pacing is extremely important. And here, I think he paces this movie perfectly for the genre pick that this is, as we get to see the craziness unfold. I can't say much because I'm not going to spoil anything. I know so many people who've reviewed this film before I got a chance to drop my review of it, because we've been in the middle of so many other films coming out that they spoiled it before you can see it. If you come to our reviews, I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm just going to say craziness ensues after the reading that leads this film to become a really good stalker horror film. And that's what you kind of wanted here, because you understood this film could have supernatural elements, but they at no point in time let the supernatural elements outshine the actual plot and the pacing of this film, which is highly important here, because its pace and its plot, very simplistic, nothing overly done. Again, this is not a high glossed over horror film. This is really much a B type of horror film, which at times tends to give you the best type of horror films here. Monique as Emma is everything you could have wanted her to be in this movie. And I mean everything you could have wanted in this movie. Sky, who Chasity plays in this film, is also really, really good. The whole cast is really good. It's a bunch of other supporting characters, but I wanted to stay focused on these two actresses, because both of them do phenomenal jobs in this film. and it just makes everything move so well. I am just blown away that the pacing is so good in this movie, because again, that's been the fatal flaw for so many horror films early on in this year, is that the pacing is off. And when the pacing is off, I think you're giving the audience too much of a story to care about, instead of not understanding, like, for this type of genre of a pick, all you need is a straightforward film. Like, just jump right into it and let the audience just be immersed into what this film can be. And that's what the reading does. It does not waste a scene. Like, from the big reveal at the quarter part of this film, from the beginning of the film, it feels like it flies past. And then when you get to the big reveal, and then when you get to the bigger elements of the film, nothing is ever wasted here. It's no unnecessary subplot of something else going on here. It's like, no, they did a great job at just introducing who these characters were, and then giving you the setup to the reading, and then everything that happens after that. I couldn't tell you how much, as someone who loves horror, that I appreciated that this movie was so straightforward in that aspect, because you don't get that with horror movies anymore, and you don't get an Oscar winner in a horror movie who does an amazing job. Listen, I need to see Monique do more horror movies. After this movie, I need to see her do more horror movies. She is fantastic in this aspect of horror. I think she can be the next Scream Queen if she wanted to be. She could be the next terrifying person in horror movies if she wanted to be. This is a film that shows just how versatile she is, and that was highly important, because when you see or hear that there's going to be a horror movie with Monique, you don't necessarily know what you're going to get. You didn't know if you were going to get the funny Monique, which I was praying they didn't go down that route. But from the beginning of this film with Emma, you fully understand this is a woman who's been through it, through the ringer. And she is so emotional. She lost her family. We understand these people stalked and killed her family. And then every aspect afterwards of that, after her protecting herself, anything of that aspect, it makes the film even better. This is definitely something you got to check out. So, the reading, brought to you by BET Plus, which you can catch it on BET Plus. Out of a possible 10, I am going to give the reading an 8 out of 10. So far, this could be the best horror movie I've seen so far this year. And I know we're early in the year, but so far this year, this is the best horror movie I've seen. And it just moves so well. That's all I've ever asked for a horror movie. I think anyone who overly loves this genre, that's all you ask of it, is to give you well-paced films. Because everyone has the same horror elements. Everyone has the same setup just about. But what you have to do is give us great pacing, along with a story that gives us just enough to care about the characters. And that's what this film does. It gives you just enough story to care about the characters. Again, and after the initial setup, it is paced so well. The time in this film flies past you. And then you're just sitting there, and by the time you get to the end, you're like, wow, I just sat through a whole movie. That's what horror should be delivering to you every time one comes out. No unnecessary subplots. Give us the main plot points of it. Give us some really good performances, and give us direction as well. And Courtney's direction in this film is great. He has a bright future if he decides to do even more horror. Because if he paces all his films like this, I think he could become superb in the horror genre. But check it out on BET Plus. Let us know what you think. This has been another JVS movie review. Peace, people.